Hey, what's up everyone, it's your girl Brain Shanae, and today I'll be sharing with you pretty much my mid-month wrap-up of the books that I read so far in March. So please, stay tuned. And I am back, and also if you're new to my channel, welcome. So like I said before, I'm pretty much going to be sharing with you what I've read so far this month in March. I have read a total of 4 books so far. I'm in the middle of reading Lore by Alexandra Bracken, and I'm enjoying that. I'm halfway through. I pretty much got like 200 pages left, so I pretty much will be finishing that book this week, and then I have some 4 of the books that I plan on reading before the month is over. But anyways, let me go ahead and get started with the first book that I read this month, and that is Open Water by Caleb Azuma Nelson. I was trying to read this for the Black Author Readathon, but I didn't finish it in time. So I just continued on reading it throughout this month. I finished it earlier in March, and I really enjoyed this book. Now this is Caleb's debut book. It actually releases in the US in April. This is the UK edition, which I was able to get from Book Depository. And so this is following 2 characters. The main character is a man. They really don't establish names for both of these characters. This man right here, he is a photographer, and this girl right here, she is a dancer. They meet at a party. And soon he really likes her, and I think she's starting to pretty much like him. And so, but before they even get together, there's things that he pretty much brings up that he goes through on a regular basis as being a Black person in the UK, and this is located in London. And I'm sure that you all seen the interview with Meghan Markle and Prince Harry and Oprah, and pretty much what they brought to our attention and what has happened, what is regarding the hierarchy and the king, the queens and everything, the queens and everything in London. And it's crazy how that happened, and I was reading this because it touches bases not just by the kingdom, but just London in general, and the racism that Black folks and people of color go through on a regular basis, and how he's able to confront what he's going through. There are a couple of passages that I wanted to share with you, but I don't want to spoil it for you. But this book deals a lot about vulnerability and masculinity. For him, he's having a hard time and struggling on being vulnerable with his girlfriend, which they do end up together. He just doesn't share things on what he goes through as a Black man in London in the UK, and he tries to keep it in, except when he goes to the barbershop. They do talk, and like in the barbershop you have these moments where you just talk and it's confidential. Pretty much everything inside the barbershop stays inside the barbershop, everything that's said. And so he pretty much he becomes a little bit more vulnerable when he's at the barbershop getting his hair done. But when it comes to his girlfriend, he doesn't want to be vulnerable. He wants to be more masculine, more strong for her. And so with him not being vulnerable to her and actually explaining what's happening and what's going on with him, they end up apart. They end up breaking up, and he resents that, and he realizes that he needs to be vulnerable. He needs to get out what he's going through, police brutality, the way police constantly stereotype him, racial profiling him, and stuff like that, and killings that he's seen firsthand in front of his own eyes. And I feel like with this book, it's very, very good. I believe I gave this, I think a 5 out of 5 stars, I believe. It is really short, but it is deep, and it's written more like in a lyrical sense. Even Caleb, he has a playlist on Shopify for this book, so I actually was listening to the music while reading this, and it actually goes well with the songs that he chose. So yeah, I really enjoy this book. This was book 5 out of 5 stars for this one. So if you don't want this from Book Depository, you can wait till April to get this book and see what you think for yourself. So I read this. Next book I read this is from this is Home is Not a Country by Sophia Ahilo. This is a girl that is pretty much in the US. She wants to know more about her country. She wants to know why they left her country, because she's getting people are calling her names, terrorists, everything like that. She's being pretty much judged based on what she wears and everything. And she just wants to know why they moved away from the country of her home that she really thinks that she would loved and enjoyed, and really resents her mother for bringing them here to the US. And so her mom also brings up the fact that if they didn't move, and if her father was in her life, that she would have been called Yasmin instead of Nima. And now Nima's wanting to know, like, well, I want to be Yasmin. I want to be that girl. Why do I have to be this girl where I'm constantly struggling, being myself and showing my identity to the world of who I am, and not being judged based off of where I'm from, or where I grew up, or where I live, or just what I wear. And so eventually there's this moment in the book where she's a djinn or whatever, and she goes to the place where she was supposed to live for the rest of her life in Sudan. And she meets Yasmin herself, but I guess it's in the type of future or present in a way, if she was Yasmin. And she gets to witness certain things. She gets to see her dad firsthand, and then she realizes that her dad didn't want anything to do with her in the first place. And that was one of the main reasons why her mom left the country and went to the US. And also the fact was that there was a lot of killing going on with innocent people in Sudan, and she didn't want that for her daughter. So that was another reason why she moved away to the US to escape, so that her daughter would have a better future. And so with this book, it was heartwarming. It was it had me in tears, I will tell you that. And with Nima, just being able to see firsthand of what her country is really like, and from Yasmin's perspective, and how Yasmin wanted to be Nima and Nima wanted to be Yasmin. And I thought that was very eye-opening, from how you want to be this person but you don't know what that person is going through, or what have you, so you're trying to switch spots with one another just because they feel like their life is better than yours. And so with that, Nima really, like, at first Nima, her mom told Nima that her dad died and was killed, but in reality he was not killed, from Yasmin's perspective. The only thing from Yasmin's perspective is that Nima's dad, Yasmin's dad, didn't want anything to do with Nima, or the baby. He wanted to live his life. He didn't want to be tied down. He wasn't really committed on, like, starting a family just yet. So that really, like, broke Nima's mother's heart, and that was just one of her motivations of just getting out and leaving. But I rated this book a 5 out of 5 stars. Even the cover is beautiful. It definitely has a lot of things that, it is also written in verse, by the way. So it was also a fairly quick read, and it's also very short, as you can see. But I really enjoyed this book. And even on the back it says, I imagine her, this other girl, bright and alive, and I ache to have been born her instead, which that is Nima talking about how she wished she was born as Yasmin and not as Nima. So yes, I really enjoyed this book. Even the blurb, it says right here on the front, it says, nothing short of magic, one of the best writers of our times, and that was said by Elizabeth Esvedo, who wrote The Poet X, and Clap When You Land, and what have you. So yeah, 5 out of 5 stars for this book, and I really, really enjoyed it. So I got this, and I read that, loved it. Next book that I read, I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, and this is Nubia, Real One by Ella McKinney, and the illustrations by Robin Smith. This book was the bomb. Now, Nubia, like, I'm starting to get into comics and graphic novels this year because they're the bomb. So Nubia is pretty much adopted. She has 2 moms. And she's constantly has moved around for certain reasons, and she finally has stayed put in one spot a little bit longer than she did with the other places that she lived, and she has been able to have friendships, be able to create friendships and best friends now. She has best friends, and then out of nowhere, her best friends leave her be because her crush walked through the door, and this is at the gas station in the store. And so after, when they were trying to meet up and she was trying to gain the courage of talking to him, a robbery broke out, and soon enough we see that she has powers like Superwoman. And then, of course, the person that was the owner of the store accused her of being the robber. And so the police officer put her in the car and tried to investigate a little bit more. And then the guy that she has a crush on established that it wasn't her. She was actually the one that saved them. So she was let go. But her mom's was like, what did you do? What attention did you bring upon now? Do we have to move? And she's like, no, I'm sorry. It's just I was trying to save them. There was a gun and what have you. So as time goes on, she's afraid that the boy that she likes is going to pretty much out her and pretty much tell everyone that she has these crazy, crazy powers. But he doesn't, because he actually really likes her. But then we go to But then as we get into the book, we notice there is a bully amongst them. I forget what his name is. Wayland. I think it's Wayland. And he is pretty much being a bully, and he is a racist as well. And he's trying to pretty much get a hold of Nubia's best friend, which I'm trying to remember. I just read this a couple weeks ago, so I'm trying to remember everything. And so, yeah, he's like pretty much, yeah, it's Wayland. And so he's on her best friend, and Nubia's trying to rescue her. And so she pretty much embarrasses him and punches him in the face. And he doesn't know what to think. And then out of nowhere, out of revenge for what she did and how she embarrassed her, and especially since she's black, he did not like that at all either. He goes to the school and starts shooting up the place and trying to find Nubia's best friend and herself, and he wants to try to kill them both. But of course, Nubia didn't let that happen, and she pretty much destroyed him. And then he went to the police department. But the thing is, Nubia never knew what her family was, how she got these powers, and then soon her two moms brought about actually Wonder Woman. And Wonder Woman told her that Nubia is her sister. Now I was like, what? So Superwoman has a sister, and I guess that's Nubia in this graphic novel. And now Nubia feels like, oh my gosh, Wonder Woman is my sister? That's crazy. Because at first Nubia felt terrible having this power. She just wanted to be a normal person. She didn't feel like it was a blessing. She felt like it was a curse to have these powers. And so having that validation of her sister telling her that these powers are amazing, they're great, our mother prayed for us to have these powers and these abilities, she looked at it as, wow, this is a power that I am definitely willing to have, and I'm happy to have them. And also in this book, it also goes back to the situations that happened last year in 2020 with the protesting. That also occurred in this book about police brutality and how her best friend managed to have a peaceful protest. But Wayland, the person that she embarrassed, pretty much was starting a riot, telling the police officers, telling them that they're pigs and assholes. He was just cussing up the storm. And pretty much during the time of the riots in 2020, it was peaceful protest, but there was some white people that decided to start looting and started destroying buildings. At least that's what happened in Columbus, Ohio, where I live. And so we have those times, and so it was a peaceful protest in this book, but Wayland made it seem like the black people were the ones attacking the police officers. And so the police officers started getting mad and just pissed off at what was happening. And Wayland was also throwing bricks at the police officers. Wayland. And Wayland is white in this book. If you don't know, I'm sure you know now. And so with that, it did not become a peaceful protest after all, since Wayland was doing that little whatever he was doing, and just trying to rile up the police officers, and a lot of people got hurt and everything. But with this book, I really enjoyed this. 5 out of 5 stars. Ella McKinney did her thing. I also love the illustrations that Robin Smith had done. Like I said, a 5 out of 5 stars to this book, and it was just amazing. The graphics was beautiful. I highly recommend that. This actually came out earlier this month, so you can definitely go get your copy if you want to. But the graphics are beautiful, and it's like, I love the little love interest as well. I thought that was pretty cool and pretty cute as well. So yeah, so we had that. So got this book, 5 out of 5 stars. Last but not least, I got into a comic, which I gave a 4 out of 5 stars. And this is pretty much, this is Shuri by Nnedi Okorafor, with illustrations by Leonardo Romero and Jordi Belair. This book was really interesting. I really love this. This is the book featuring of how the search for Black Panther, because he disappeared pretty much in a black hole. And she doesn't want to resume as the Black Panther. She wants to just try to find him. But doing so, things sort of gets corrupted among Africa. And so she has to pretty much assume the position of the Black Panther. But as she's searching for him, you have Storm, who is currently is Black Panther's girlfriend, and she tries to help, tries to wonder and try to find out where he went, why T'Challa went. So we have that, and so I feel like with this comic, I feel like since our real Black Panther, Chadwick, I feel like they might do this for the movie. They might actually have Shuri possibly be like the Black Panther, maybe. I wish we were able to get more of the movies where we actually saw T'Challa and Storm as a couple before, you know, his passing, which was really sad last year, one of our losses, which he will be really missed. But I wonder if they'll do that approach for the movie, the next Black Panther movie, if they decide to do so. But this book is really, comic is really good. 4 out of 5 stars, because I feel like there was instances where some of the stuff that was pretty much established in the graphic was just not necessary. But I do like the illustrations. It was really nice, but it's very colorful. And I just love Shuri as a character. She is the bomb, a scientist, a math wit. She's just it, you know, like I love it. So like I said, a 4 out of 5 stars for this book, and I definitely loved it. And I'm pretty much getting into comics now. I didn't really read a lot of comics before, even prior to me being part of BookTube, but I'm just now getting into it, and I'm really enjoying them, and they're really a fast read if you think about it. So yeah, so I have read Shuri by Nnedi Okorafor, a 4 out of 5 stars for this one. But that is it, you guys. That is all the books I have read so far in March. I do still have, I believe, 5 more books I still need to get through this month. Hopefully I can do that. I literally just have this week and a little bit of next week. So hopefully I can do it. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. Also, hit that subscribe button and that bell to be notified when I upload more videos in the future. But thank you so much for watching, you guys. And please stay healthy and stay safe. See ya.